The best racers have speed in the straightaway and know how to cross the finish line first. To help drive the conversation and accelerate your sales, please welcome Senior Vice President, Retirement, Jamie Hayes.
Hello, my name is Jamie. That's a great song. I don't know if anybody's ever heard it, but the lyric that you were just listening to was, "Shut up and let me drive." So we're going to talk to you about how to drive the conversation to win new business, keep your business, and cross-sell business. Like many of you, I am in sales, so I am also a relationship manager. I'm responsible for a team. I am competitive. I am motivated to win business, keep my business, and cross-sell. So really excited to chat with you with Tony here, who you all know, should know, have seen probably many times before. He is Senior VP of Business Development, all things executive benefits. Tony, you want to tell us a little bit more about your role?
Yeah, my role is really to help advisors like you find more opportunities to serve your plan sponsors and their highly comped employee groups. That's it. It's all things non-qualified and discriminatory. Take a deep breath. It's okay to use that word in this context.
Also very happy to have one of your outstanding peers. She is a great retirement plan consultant, Whitney Jones with Premier Wealth Management. Whitney, can you tell us a little bit about your firm and your role with the firm?
Sure. Yes, my name is Whitney Jones. I'm a retirement plan consultant with Premier Wealth Management. Likewise, I educate, and I service our book of business. Premier itself is a boutique firm out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And when I say boutique, I mean that of our 5-person wealth management team, about 1.5 of us work on retirement plans, of which we have about 60 with almost $300 million in AUM. So I appreciate the representation of a smaller, average type firm on stage.
Wow, that's awesome. So we're going to start with prospecting. I think that, well, first of all, how many of you, and no shame here, how many pay for leads? How many have cold callers in-house that you pay? How many outsource it to an outside cold calling firm? You don't have to raise your hands, just think about it. I do, ain't no shame, love it. Whether you get your leads and generate your business through cold calling, outsourcing, existing clients, referrals, webinars, seminars, the point is that cultivating a relationship is very time consuming and expensive. So when you get in front of a business decision maker, you better be prepared, right? You better have a plan of attack. You better research that company. You walk in with the right questions to ask to get the answers that you want, right? Because we're all in sales. We all want to do the right thing and enhance plans and enhance processes, but we need to help them to do that. So, you got to have a plan and prepare. I like to ask some, somewhat provocative questions that maybe they never had before, but then follow it with some third-party stories and kind of pet them and lead them into how they should answer the questions, right? So, for example, easy, what are your goals for the 401k? But how does the 401k fit within the vision of your organization? Do you care about your employees? Do you want them to have a healthy retirement and a successful financial world on the way, right? I'm obviously steering them, and then I'll kind of pet them and make them feel comfortable and say, knowing that they may not have had to answer these questions, some of my employer clients say this, some of the feedback I get is that maybe they're losing a lot of rank and file right now. Maybe there's a lot of turnover. What is your experience with that? Many of my clients are worried that their employees are not financially well. What are you doing about financial wellness? So kind of steering them into the conversation that I want to have. So Whitney, tell us, how do you get your leads, first of all, and how do you plan for an introductory meeting?
Sure. Aside from the natural market and client referrals, for our firm, it's all about positioning. We are part of a larger organization of employee benefit and insurance brokers, so we have a large pool of producers to pull from, but they don't have to work with us. It's all about positioning ourselves as subject matter experts and reminding them that the 401k is an employee benefit, and a crucial one at that. We position ourselves with employers as a boutique firm with an immense pool of resources at our disposal. Again, thanks RPAG. And we continue to pitch financial wellness as a standalone benefit, not a tag along to their retirement plan. So yes, prospects are precious, but so are our referral sources. We continue to foster relationships within the organization. And when it comes to preparing for a prospect meeting, I'm immediately researching who I'm going to meet with and work to build rapport from minute one of introduction. A few weeks ago, I had an opportunity to meet with a large employer. They would come close to doubling our AUM, so obviously I want to make a great first impression. I find out who I'm meeting with, realize not only is she a fellow Chiefs fan, but she's also a fellow twin mom as well. So I'm walking into the meeting with my Chiefs necklace on and work my 2-year-old twins into the conversation, and we immediately bonded over football and motherhood, and they're including us in their advisor RFP this month.
That's a huge common grounds.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, I stalk their LinkedIn and find some sort of common ground, and usually it's sports and football or college.
We're regular people.
Right. Tony, what kind of questions should we be asking to get you in the door?
Well, honestly, every one of your plan sponsors, every one of our plan sponsors has issues with their highly comped employee group because our qualified plans, both in benefits and in our retirement, just don't span up. So the question is really, are you doing everything you can for this incredibly precious resource, your highly comped employees? Because we know our plan sponsors, none of them are paying people more money accidentally. They're paying them more money because they're the engines of their enterprise and they're the keys to their long-term growth, which is the key to our long-term growth. And once you start pressing on that, can your HCEs, and notice I'm not saying executives because this is really about the highly comped, not just the executive suite, can they retire successfully? Because they can't with what they can put away only in a qualified plan. Do they have adequate coverages for long-term disability and life insurance? Are you doing everything you can to retain the absolutely critical ones? And I get them to think about it this way. If you close your eyes, and you all run your own businesses, if you do this now, you'll know who needs to be in a retention plan. But if you close your eyes and think about your highly comped and your important group, whoever walks in on Friday, if they quit and it ruins your week, your month, maybe your quarter, possibly your year, if you don't have them in a retention plan, that's a problem. So questions like that.
Those are great. And so, when you're prospecting, you've got to drive that discussion to get the results that you want. Get that case open, whatever terminology you use. Now we're going to kind of shift to gears a little bit. You get that? And discuss driving the conversation with existing clients. Thank you for that laugh there.
Bad joke.
We need to continue to be inspirational to clients. We need to provide solutions. We need to continue to be prescriptive on a consistent basis. Clients need us to inspire them. I have a really large client. Well, they're about 200 million at this point. And when they hired me about 4 years ago, they had an advisor. And I asked the CFO what it was about us, what it was about me, really, why they chose to partner with us. And he said, the last consultant was great. Kind of did what she was supposed to do, but she wasn't inspirational. We never made any positive enhancements because of the meetings. Like, you guys come in and you run the meeting and inspire us to make positive enhancements. And I always like to use the word positive enhancements rather than change, because nobody likes change, by the way. So as advisors, we need to be more comprehensive than ever before. So in addition to being persistently prescriptive with our consulting, we've got to be comprehensive. I'm constantly reminding clients of all the tools and resources at my disposal. I want them coming to me for everything. I want them asking me what dentist they should go to. Okay, I want to be their trusted advisor. And in order to be their trusted advisor, you really have to deliver in these 3 areas that you'll see on the screen. And if you can deliver in these 3 areas, very low probability of being fired from your existing clients. So Whitney, let's talk about what you're doing to increase profits and advance the mission of your clients.
Sure. I'm a millennial, so I'm going to refer to my notes here so I stay on task. We do talk about the relationship between a healthy, financially responsible employee and productivity. We help them understand the employer costs of employees delaying leaving the workforce by comparing age and wage and benefit costs of new replacement employees versus retirement age employees. We can't quantify intangibles, turnover costs, absenteeism and productivity, but we ask them if they've ever calculated the cost of their employees delaying leaving the workforce because they're not retirement ready. And that's the key here. There's nothing wrong with employees being productive in the workforce into their 60s and 70s, but when they are of retirement age and want to retire, we want them to be financially able and capable of retiring on their own terms. And this directly affects my client's bottom line. We've seen cases in which the employer costs I just outlined are millions of dollars over a few-year period. And if they've never had that type of conversation with their advisor or finance committee, it can be eye-opening.
So Tony, what are you doing to help recruit and retain or teach our clients and how to help recruit and retain top talent?
There's a couple things. The first is just literally retention programs that are what you would consider golden handcuffs. And it's literally after I've asked them that question, who's the group that if they quit on a Friday, it ruins your life? Okay, now what are we going to do to align their interest with your interest? And this is typically done in both not-for-profit and for-profit organizations with a golden handcuff plan, or you'll hear it called a SERP. And that's a bonus that's paid based on corporate performance, individual performance, and vested over time. It's that simple, and it is completely discriminatory. You can pick one person, you can pick 10, you can treat people individually. I do talk to them, and Whitney said something I want to elaborate on. I do have a number for what it costs to replace a highly comped employee. And this has probably gone up since we did this research, but the bottom number here, by the way, came from SHRM. It's 200 to 400% per $100,000 of salary. So if one of our clients loses 2 people, making it the low end of what we consider a highly comped employee, which is about $150,000, the cost to them, real dollars, is $600,000 to $1.2 million. I don't know about y'all, but that's real money in my world, and it only gets worse as the companies get bigger. So that's really where we're focused on in terms of retention. Everything we do when we touch the highly comped group to get them trued up so that their benefits are equalized as it relates to rank and file creates retention, and then the other 2 programs are really focused on you're special to us and we want you to stay.
So when I bring Tony in, he provides such great solution to the highly compensated executives that my client inevitably ends up asking, oh, this is so great. Now, what can you do for all of the employees? How can we attract and retain? Because everybody's going through the same stuff that we're dealing with, which is keeping employees, right? It's the great resignation, which is why we need to be a lot more flexible, which is what Veronica was talking about earlier, and kind of cater to our employees. But Whitney, what are you doing for the rank and file employees and helping your clients retain talent at all levels?
Well, John actually alluded to a lot of the great questions regarding plan design earlier. Obviously, we need to make sure that it's in line with the company's goals and objectives because they're going to change over time. Companies grow, they expand, they contract, their environment evolves. We've experienced a paradigm shift over the last few years, and our employers are feeling the squeeze as well. So looping in the administrators and making sure everyone is involved and has input when it comes to making plan design changes, that's super important. We also continue to pitch financial wellness as a standalone benefit, simply because if the employee cannot afford to participate in their retirement plan, whether that's their perception or their reality, the retirement plan is a moot point. But an employer-sponsored financial wellness program that the employee doesn't have to pay for, that is proactively helping them make better financial decisions and walking them through life events, that's something worth sticking around for.
Exactly. So, an employee, I don't like to use the word never, but I always preface before I say the word never that I don't like to use it. So I don't like to say never, but employees never would have had the opportunity to meet with a financial planner had it not been for a financial wellness program, had it not been for WellSense, right? Because they don't have the tools, the resources, they don't have the money, they don't feel worthy, they're not being proactive and picking up the phone and making the necessary changes that they make. So that when you have financial wellness and you're providing these benefits, it's truly seen by the employees as a benefit. They're gonna feel more financially well, they're gonna be far less likely to leave an organization to chase a signing bonus down the street or chase 25 cents an hour more down the street if they feel like their employer is taking care of them. And that's what financial wellness and other really good ideas internally that we got to bring to our clients. So we've always got to be thinking, what ideas can I bring to my client next quarter, right? Over time, the quarterly meetings can get mundane. We're talking about, not that it's not important, but beta coefficients and Sharpe ratios can get really boring. So I don't want to go to my meetings and just go through investment analytics. I want to really talk to the committee and I want to really inspire them. So you've got to bring ideas every single time, or you've got to measure the success of the idea that you brought last quarter or last year, and look at the metrics and kind of validate, hey, look at what I recommended, pat myself on the back, but look at what you were so bold to implement and how this positively enhanced your plan and your employees, and quantify that, whether it's auto enrollment, whether it's reducing fees, implementing a CIT, quantify those results and reiterate, because you've got to continue to show the value and make sure that they understand the value that you bring. So as RPAG advisors, I do truly believe that you all have an unfair competitive advantage in the marketplace with the tools and resources that are at your disposal. You've got Kellen and Matt and the FlexPath team. You've got WellSense. You've got Tony in the executive benefits. You've got Joel and John with fiduciary compliance. And this allows us to pivot in different conversations. So this helps existing clients and long-term clients, but it also helps with prospecting, right? Because you can shape the questions you ask. So if your prospect says, oh, I have a financial advisor, I'm all set. Great. Tell me what you're doing in the financial wellness. Are you having issues attracting and retaining top talent? When was the last time you benchmarked your fees? A lot of the clients I talk to are worried that they might be leaving a basis point on the table. Quantify for them what that means, and you can just pivot in 12 different ways to get your foot in the door some way, and then eventually everything will fall into place. So, Tony, what are you doing to differentiate yourself?
So what we're really doing is making sure that when we're with an advisor, and we get to all of our clients with advisors, that they understand and that you guys understand how great a pivot this is. I love that word. Because a lot of clients think they've got it all figured out, and they're already paying people a lot of money. So they think, I've paid them a lot of money, what else do I need to do for them? And when you start pointing out that, yes, you're paying them a lot of money, but you're not actually treating them fairly, it concerns them. Because somebody else, and we've all seen it, the Great Resignation was a real thing. COVID has changed the working dynamic, especially at the top end of the pay scale, because people now can be anywhere, anytime they want to be. That conversation has become critical. And the ability to engage a plan sponsor on, hey, how are you dealing with this group and ensuring that they show up every day and that you continue to add to them? Because frankly, most of our clients are in the small to upper mid, think 300 to maybe 15,000 employees. I'm not dealing with Fortune 500 clients. They are truly struggling to find the people they need to grow, and all of these companies need to grow. And obviously, as they grow, we grow. I mean, the key to our long-term success is that all of our plan sponsors grow. So that's really where we're focused when we're having that conversation.
Super. And Whitney, how about you? What are you using to differentiate yourself?
Well, we do present ourselves as advocates first and foremost. Anyone can come to an employer, talk about the triple Fs. We like to focus on higher level conversations that are employer-led. It's really not about selling me or my firm. It's about selling the relationship and partnership that we're going to build together. The song that you chose is Shut Up and Let Me Drive, and sometimes that's exactly what we need to be doing. We do need to drive the conversation, but sometimes we need to focus on the shut up part. Ask our thoughtful leading questions and then let them tell us what's missing.
Yep, absolutely. So talking about long-term clients, you know, last night, Jesse ran through, I want to say it probably wasn't even every single tool and resource that you guys have as RPAG advisors. Whether you're using them or not, he reminded you of them, right? So now you're like, oh, maybe I'm using this. Oh, I didn't even know about that. And this is new. That's fantastic. We need to do the same thing with our clients. They need to know all the arrows in your quiver. They need to know all the tools and resources that you can provide to them. The last thing you need, and it's like my biggest fear, is my client saying, oh, you know, I partnered with, you know, this firm over here for financial wellness. That would be like, oh, you know, a punch right to the stomach. You know, I have that. Oh yeah, I forgot, I didn't know, right? So you have to continue to reiterate with your clients. They don't remember. I mean, you meet with them every quarter and it seems competitive or repetitive to you, but they have 100 jobs and they don't remember all the tools and resources that you have. So you just continue to remind them. Again, bring new ideas, keep things fresh. Whitney, what are you doing to kind of keep things fresh with long-term clients?
Again, it's all about reminding them of the resources, relationships, and dynamic service plan we can offer. I also work with providers who are a resource to me. So if they don't run to a problem, I'm probably not running to them as a service provider. And I think that that reflects directly on our strengthened relationships. And to speak of wowing your clients and wowing your prospects, I mean, at a first prospect meeting, I am walking in. I've done my due diligence, but I'm not walking in with a pitch book. You know, I have a pen and paper, a phone, a one-pager on who we are and our affiliations, and then our sample service plan. Mm-hmm. And when they take a look at that and realize the services, analyses, and professional assistance we can offer, and they're getting none of that with their current advisor, that's an easy sell right there. And we continue to remind them every year, mix and match off the RPAG shelf, services and modules. Mm-hmm. It never becomes dull and repetitive because we have so much to choose from.
Yeah, you've got to continue to resell them as well, right? There's always new committee members, new committee membership turnover. There's not just turnover with rank and file right now and top talent, but in the committee room, there's new committee members all the time. I sit down with new members prior to the first meeting that they're going to attend. I'm selling them, totally selling them on me and my firm. I'm talking about all the tools and the resources, the history of our partnership, the history of the plan, talking about their goals and their expectations, their experience with retirement plans. Again, you know, driving the discussion to ask them what their goals are and talk about what we've done with the plan. Because everybody walks in and they might have their cronies from their old company, and I do not want them bringing in, you know, their guy. I'm going to be the guy from here on out for all committee members. Also, I like to wine and dine my clients. So, you know, I take business very personally. I like what I do, and I want to like my clients. I got to spend time with you. I want to like you, or I want to at least have fun and eat and drink. So I take my clients out a lot of time. We go to lunch, we go to dinner, we go to cocktails. I like to see what they're like after a drink or two. And if they like me, I think they're far less likely to fire me. So it's kind of it works in multiple ways. But you've got to wine and dine all of them, okay? I've had feedback from clients where one of them, it wasn't about me, one committee member was super mad at their benefits guy because she brought him in. He now works with the other HR gal and only asks her out to lunch every time he's there and never her. And I was like, oh, that's good. A good reminder that I need to invite not just the ones I like, but I need to extend the invitation to all. And by the way, the one I like will leave, right? So I need to make sure I have the entire committee are my friends. So this is leading me to talk about one of my favorite case studies that I have with Tony. So one of my clients, LSF, I'll tell you their name because I do feel very confident, although I typically have a healthy level of paranoia and fear that my clients can fire me any day. I do feel confident in this one. They were just a $12 million 403B plan. They're in a not-for-profit space. So the revenue there was $48,000. Sold them WellSense. That was an additional, I do recommend charging for WellSense. That was an additional $12,000. That yielded over time $30,000 of revenue from wealth management. And then it uncovered the employer reporting from WellSense, uncovered a need for Thrive, student loans, debt payment program, and that was $20,000 a year. Also uncovered a need for life with long-term care, which was another $90,000 of revenue. And then through driving the discussion, Tony and I were able to open a case and solve for a big problem that they have with split dollar. So why don't you tell us about.
So this is a really unique situation where this organization takes a predominant amount of their funding from Head Start. And Head Start does something really cruel to the people that take money for them, which is they cap executive salaries at $190,000 a year. So we had individuals that were critical to the long-term success of this organization that were way under market in terms of how they were getting paid and what they were doing. They thought they had solved this problem with a 457F, which sort of made sense because it's locked up and they can't get it until they retire. Head Start sent them a letter and said, nope, we consider a 457F compensation. You can't do that. Not only can you not have the 457F, but you got to send us back the money related to it, which became a bit of an accounting nightmare. And there is a program that we're capable of using in not-for-profits called Loan Regime Split Dollar. It's a long way of saying we're going to convert compensation expense into a loan to the employee that is not perceived as compensation. We do this in a lot of places other than folks like this. This is just one of the more unique ones. Net, at the end of the day, everybody's now getting compensated the way they should. It is moved from being a compensation expense for Lutheran Services to being an interest-bearing asset on their balance sheet. Their executive comp, which used to show up on their 990J and get reported, this high executive comp that can get reported in the newspapers about once a year, is now on a 990L, which nobody knows how to find. It's a frictionless transaction from a taxation perspective for all parties. Let me unpack that because I said that a lot, and I said it a lot, and I said it fast. Fundamentally, no payroll taxes, no income taxes. And these won't be big enough, but in the not-for-profit space now, there is a excise tax of 21% to the plan sponsor for compensation over $1 million, which, you don't think about that, but hospitals, credit unions, large foundations, many of them have people with 457Fs that get multi-million-dollar balances in them, and when they distribute, that leaves the plan sponsor with a large tax bill that they're frequently not prepared for and they weren't planning on. So it was a really fun case, and this client does love Jamie. They told her literally in these words, in my presence, you're untouchable.
Untouchable. I told them I'd write it down and tell you guys about it. So that's what I'm doing. And I also take them for wings and beer every quarter. And I think that helps. And they reiterated to me during Wings and Beer last quarter that I was untouchable. But also, I'm still paranoid. Like, I'm never going to be complacent. I still think they could fire me tomorrow, right? So I'm still going to bring them good ideas. And even after telling me that I'm untouchable, and I remind them every quarter of everywhere I've got my mitts in. And by the way, it was a $48,000 I told you revenue to start with. It's now $276,000 of revenue and growing with all these different programs. And they had the nerve to ask during the last committee meeting, they asked me and the record keeper that was there if we had any good ideas for them. I was like, I feel like I'm the giving tree, okay? You swing from my branch, I've got nothing left. But it just reiterates that we have to continue. I think they have everything from us, but they're still looking for us for all the good ideas in every area, not just the ones that we can be compensated by, but they're like, we offer, this many sick days, vacation days. Is there anything we should be doing better, different, bigger for our clients, like you guys, for our employees? They're like, you guys know the market, you work with employers and employees all the time, and they've got nowhere else to go. I don't want them to go anywhere else either. I want them to come to me for any of their needs and any advice that they need. So You all can enhance your success, right, and the success of your employees and employer clients by driving the conversation and, again, using the tools and resources at your disposal. So thank you, Tony. Thank you, Whitney. Thank you all, and have a great rest of your conference.
Good job.